Hi there, this is Bridget from the PlannerSpeechie. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be planning for the week of February 14th through the 20th, 2022 in my vertical life planner. I'm going to be using this kit called Book Cafe. This is a kit that I printed from the Planner Shack. This art has been available for about a year, but I just love it. It's really stunning. I love the dark maroons and grays. And I decided that I wanted to use this for Valentine's week because it has kind of a romantic theme to it. And the previous week, which is right here, was very Valentine's. So because Valentine's Day is at the very beginning of the week, I just wanted to use that. So this kit has many sheets. I printed several of the pages. I don't think I used all of them, but I am going to be color blocking this week. So my intent is to use as many of the color blocking options as I can. There's a lot of different things here with, in terms of just decorative elements. So I'm going to try and be choosy and careful with what I use, but there are so many things here. So I'm very excited to use this. I'm going to be pulling in some Sadie Stickers foil. So this was recently a sticker option in the foiled Tuesday. I chose the thick heart. This is a rose gold foil. So I'm going to use that as an overlay. This is from her advent calendar last year, but she's got a lot of really cool rose gold options here. So I'm going to be using this. I would feature this in last week's video. This is the Heart Bubble Deco. And then I also have two more sheets from the advent calendar last year that I thought were very Valentine's themed and kind of match the tones of this art. Okay. I've tried really hard to prepare ahead of time this week. So I have this really fun little planner thing. It's a Golden Girls theme. R.I.P. Betty White. So I have a bunch of things planned out for the week ahead of time, which is super helpful. I also went ahead and pulled some stickers that I know I'm going to be using. And I have this Crafty Banana Winter Favorites of Taylor of Tattoo Teacher Plans. I'm a huge fan of her channel, and I thought I would use the Expo candle and maybe some of these other winter elements this week. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. All right, so let's dive right in. This was a crazy week for me, and I decided for my own sake of mind, I didn't edit this bit too much. So you're going to hear me talking for quite a bit this time, but hopefully you like that. So I really love the way that these hearts layered on top of the print. I was a little worried they would get lost, but they actually complement each other really, really well since the background of the washi is a little bit more abstract. For the first time ever, using these foiled date dots with a little wreath from Sadie Stickers actually worked in this space. I had enough room on the date dots to fit the whole thing without it looking too crazy, and it just added the perfect little touch. So I'm really, really glad that I was able to use that. I am probably just flipping through. There were a lot of sheets in this kit. I decided to print all of them. And you'll see me doing that a lot. Sometimes when there's too many stickers, and even if you are familiar with the format, it just takes a while. So I decided to do a reverse ombre this week, going back from darkest to lightest and then darkest again. And I think it came out really well. It just means that I'm not utilizing, and I'm color blocking. So this is another thing I can do really easily with these kits is color block. This was a crazy week, and I ended up trying to use as many of the stickers as I could, but you know, you'll see that I'm just trying to be meticulous here, which is totally unnecessary since I'm the only person looking at this. figuring out where to lay all of the art was really challenging. I was trying really hard to stagger the fashion girls with the books, with the food, with the art. So I think it came out really, really well. My goal this weekend was to visit an independent bookstore to sort of go with the theme of this kit. And I ended up not doing that for reasons I will get into in a moment. But I really, really love the full box effect of the bookstore door and the cafe. I really wish I had a shop like this closer to me. When I lived in New York, we didn't really have anything like this. The closest thing we had was the Housing Works bookstore in Manhattan, near NYU, because they did have a lot of seating and they did have a cafe and it was a used bookstore. But yeah, it was really kind of a challenge to find anything like that. Here, at least, I haven't found anything like that yet. So now I'm just going through trying to put in the sidebar washi. I always like to use as many of the weekly trackers as I can, and I did actually utilize them this week. So I'm going to be tracking 3 different things: my sleeping 7+ hours, daily student logs, completing those on time, and read/listening to a book for 30 minutes. I put down, it says don't forget, and then there's a water hydration tracker at the bottom, which is kind of neat. I put in don't forget as my cleaning header because there wasn't a direct to clean that really matched well. So I'm just going ahead and marking all of the different rooms to try and target each day. I haven't been super successful at doing this, even though I write it in my planner. So this is an example of a faux planning system where I have every intention of doing it and it's just not working. That is a Christmas candle I am burning. That is bright Christmas morning, which I ended up replenishing my candle stock because I burned this candle so long that it just didn't, the wicks won't light anymore, even though there's a little bit of wax left in it. I used the XOXO candle from Crafty Banana to mark that it was Valentine's Day on Monday. And I did have to work this day, so this was kind of fun to be able to go in and see all the kids. They had friendship parties in the afternoon, which I thought was cute. Some of them did walk out with crafts that looks just like what I used in my previous week with the paper bags and the little heart faces. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It was too good. So I had to do a bunch of articulation screeners on kindergartners with my supervisor on Monday. I think there were 6 or 7 kids in total that were being referred. The data for the semester had just come out and everybody was performing lower than expected. And I think that is really still to do with the after effects of COVID. I don't think it has anything to do with the teachers. I think kids are still learning how to be in school and how to follow the rules and how to pay attention. And I think it's still spilling over, and it's probably going to spill over for a while. But as a result, we're getting a lot of referrals now, which is a little intense. So we're trying to manage them as best we can, and we were able to do like an RTIC screening en masse. And there was only one student we found from the group who might really benefit from speech therapy. So I think interventions are going to continue for him. On Monday, I ended up ordering out, even though we don't usually do that, because it was Valentine's Day. My husband got me a dozen long stem roses, and I was so surprised. It was just really lovely, and they're still around, and they're still kicking, so I'm very happy about all of that. I was supposed to mail a package to my parents. I have yet to do that. It's been really chaotic. My parents know it's coming though, so there we go. And we ended up getting like a not so great text from our real estate agent, our buyer's agent, and it kind of put us all in a mood. So Valentine's Day, we had celebrated it the previous weekend, but it just made me kind of sad that we couldn't enjoy all of the wonderful things that had happened. So we ended up sort of celebrating a little bit on Tuesday also. So on Tuesday, I work at the middle school. I had to do a lot of work prepping for IEPs, updating the data sheets. I've discovered a podcast that I really like called the SLP Nerdcast, which actually counts for continuing education credits. So I've been trying to listen to that. I had a lot of difficulty listening to my Spotify this week, and I realized it was because all of the canceled Joe Rogan stuff. And anyway, so I ended up not listening to it because it was just too hard. So I started listening to this podcast, the Trojan Horse Letter, which I highly recommend for anyone who's interested in like NPR or This American Life or any shows like that. I finished reading a book called The Family, which is about an Italian family in New York in 1920s to 1940s, and I absolutely adored it. I listened to the audiobook version, which was narrated by Marin Ireland, and she did such a fantastic job. So I do recommend listening to anything she narrates as well. Really, really good. I got to talk to my friend on the phone on Tuesday, which I hadn't really gotten to do in a long, long time, so that was lovely to catch up with her. And on Wednesday, I had a house meeting after school to talk about what we're going to plan for the following week. And I meant to Zoom with my friend, but she had to cancel. I finished watching a really great documentary called Frank and Ollie on Disney Plus about the original animators of Pinocchio, Snow White, Robin Hood, and it's really, really good. It's not new, it's from the 90s, but it was so sweet. And given all the horrible stuff that's been happening in New York that my friend was telling me about, I really just, we both needed that. So Thursday and Friday were the day of IEPs. I had 2 IEP meetings on Thursday that took the majority of my day. I was planning to go to Starbucks in the morning. That did not happen. I ended up going on Friday instead and treating my coworkers, so it all worked out. I was supposed to have an evaluation with a student, and I found out that that student has been suspended until the following week, so couldn't do that evaluation. But I also had an initial results IEP meeting, which took 2.5 hours. And it was in person for everyone except the parent. So we were all sitting in this conference room trying to manage this very, very long list of goals. And it was well worth it. And the student is lovely. And I'm so glad that we were able to get this done. But oh my God, 2.5 hours, it's too long. And then I had another meeting where I was actually dismissing a student from a supplemental services plan, and that went so beautifully. I was just so proud of the parents and of the whole team. It was great, so I loved that. We had a take and bake also, which was chicken lasagna, and that was delicious. I loved it, so that was really nice, something really nice that the middle school PTO does for us. So then on Friday, my Friday goals were really just to do everything. Finish weekly logs, prep for next week's IEPs, session planning. We had to schedule some house appointments to go look at some houses, and that's what we ended up doing all day Saturday, was going to different house appointments, and I'll talk about that in a second. I had another set of IEPs, neither of which ended up happening. The first one was canceled before I even got to work. The second one, we went, but the parent didn't show up, and the person running the meeting didn't have like sufficient documentation to say that the parent had given consent for the meeting to go forward. So we ended up having to end the meeting and have to reschedule it, which was kind of a pain because I reconfigured my whole afternoon to make that meeting happen. It was just very frustrating. So we ended up watching TV at night and just relaxing at home before the appointment. So that was kind of nice. But it was kind of a crazy Friday leading into what a 3-day weekend. So I was very excited and relaxed and happy on Friday, motivated to see what would come. So while I'm planning this in this video, some of these things did occur, some of them didn't. I did end up having breakfast and relaxing in the morning, but then, and I did end up painting my nails again using Olive and June. That's a really nice company, and I highly recommend them. And I started to film the plan with me for this next following week, but I had to stop because we had these appointments. So we went to an open house by ourselves for a house that was really close by, and we just didn't like it. It wasn't for us. It was too small. It was outdated. It wasn't right for us. And then we had a second appointment in the afternoon with our buyer's agent, and that was exclusive to us. And we loved the home, but the home was located right next to a golf course, and the yard was basically non-existent, and you were just looking over a golf course. So we went back and forth because we loved the interior of the home, and it was priced right, and it was in a great neighborhood, and there was a country club like attached to the complex. But in the end, after long labored discussions, we decided not to make an offer on that house. And we actually went to a new complex that they were building right down the street, and we hadn't even considered new home construction builds at all because there were all these issues with supply and demand and labor, and we didn't know how long it was going to take. But actually, it's now something we're seriously considering, especially in that location. I just wish the exteriors of the houses looked more appealing to me. And the thought of living in a complex like that that hasn't been fully established yet is a little daunting, but we're thinking about it. So we ended up ordering Indian food and watching the movie Phenomenon with John Travolta, which I hadn't seen ever, but I had seen the trailer for it many, many times as a child because it was one of those trailers that showed up in a movie that I liked or watched on VHS a lot. So it's kind of sad, but it was also kind of a great movie, as many John Travolta movies are. So I'm just trying to plan out what we ended up doing on Sunday. We took a drive to look at another property in a town 45 minutes away, and that ended up being a bust as of this morning when we found out that the house is already off the market, even though it was never technically on the market. So it's just been a crazy couple of days, and I'm looking forward to trying to get through the next week as smoothly as possible, but it's been a little crazy. So now I'm just trying to fill in all the gaps. You can see there's a bunch of things where I didn't have anything listed, but I think it's really coming together. All in all, I love the artwork of this kit so much, and I'm definitely going to be doing it again, using it again. I think I started to talk and then I realized that there was a gap that I wanted to fill in. So I'm just doing that now. I managed to put in that I was going to call my friend and what books I was reading. I don't do that enough. I don't talk about like what's currently going on in my life, and that's the kind of thing I'd be curious to read about and reflect on later when I look back at these planners in a year. So important to put that stuff in your planner because if you have every intention of keeping your planner, it's a really nice memento. All right, so I've made a few adjustments, but this is what my week is looking like so far. I love how this came out. I just think it's beautiful. And I think the rose gold matched with this dark maroon color is just perfect. So I'm really glad that I put in these extra little touches because I think it gives a little bit of flair without being too much. So I have a lot to do this week, but there's especially on Monday. Monday seems to be my busiest day of the week. It's a major holiday. I'm also doing a lot of preliminary exploration with these Arctic screeners and eval. I have to mail a package, all of that. So that's going to be my busiest day of the week. I have a lot of IEP meetings on Thursday and Friday. I'm not really sure how this happened, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And then my weekend is currently very blank. I don't have any appointments. I don't have anything going on. So I filled in what I usually do on the weekends because that's probably what's going to happen. But there's a chance that something could be coming up, maybe an open house or something like that that would require us to do more. But overall, I think this week is going to be a meetings week, unfortunately. I laid the groundwork for some space where I can add what I need on these days, because some of this is probably going to spill over into the following day if I'm being honest. But overall, I think this looks really, really good. And I am excited to be tracking my water this week, and I'm going to try and use this as best I can. But yeah, I think this came out really, really well. And I would definitely use this kit again and use this art again, which is why I'm so glad that I bought it as a digital kit so that I can print it whenever I need to. Next week is going to be President's Day week, and I have a really fun kit from Scribble Prints Co. that I'm going to be using. So please do check back in for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a wonderful week and stay safe.